So how many of you have some things in your body you wish were a little bit better? And how many of you would be okay with me giving you 5 very, very powerful tools that you can use to completely transform your body once and for all? Make some noise. Excellent. It's been a very, very fascinating year so far. As I mentioned, over the past several years, actually most of my life, I've struggled with weight. I was a chunky kid. I got bullied because of my weight, and it wasn't until high school that I actually took a weight training class, and I got into pretty decent shape. Unfortunately, as we talked about a little bit earlier today, I did some things, but I didn't actually become something. Does that make sense? Yes. And while there were a couple of times in my life where I got into a really decent weight, again, I didn't actually become it. And I'll never forget the day when I stood on the scale and I saw the number as 251 pounds, and I said, that's Yagi. Tell the person next to you, that's Yagi. And then I went over and I stood in the front of the mirror and I went, that's even yuckier. And then I went to the other side of the mirror hoping it would be different. And it wasn't different. I said, that's the yuckiest. And I said, I don't want to be yucky. Tell the person next to you, I don't want to be yucky. Say, yucky's yucky. And I don't like yucky. Tell the person next to you, it's better to be yummy. And it took me a number of years, but we finally found the 5 tools that I'd like to give to you today. Would that be okay with you? Yes. Tell the person next to you, that's okay with me. That's okay with me. There are 5 tools. How many, please? 5. Thank you. There are 5 tools when it comes to total body transformation. And some of these may surprise you a little bit. Before we get into that, though, let me just kind of check in. Over the next few minutes, we're going to be covering how to eat literally whatever you want to eat and still release weight without spending hours and hours in the gym. Who would be okay with that? Yes. Because I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person, I like my food. I like chocolate. Anybody else? In my humble opinion, any weight reduction plan that doesn't allow you to eat chocolate every single day of the week is not worth following. Anybody else agree with that? I like to enjoy some hot wings. I like to enjoy some pizza. I like to enjoy some really yummy stuff. And it's interesting because so many people think that you have to completely deprive themselves. True? Yeah. Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about why most diets fail and why most people who try to release weight end up gaining it all back. And if you're wanting to go through that process right now, how you can make this the absolute last time you go through that process. Cool, cool. We're going to talk about how to have absolute massive amounts of energy. What type of energy, please? Massive. Thank you. Even at the beginning of your journey. We're going to talk about how to finally stop sabotaging yourself. How many of you have some self-sabotages? How many of you are ready to finally be done with those sabotages? Excellent. Even if you struggle with deeply rooted issues such as food addictions. We're going to talk about how to overcome what we call the guilty pleasures. And what I mean by that is, how many of you know someone that like if I could just give up that one food, like brownies or soda or Chinese food, whatever that one food is. So like if I could just stop eating whatever it is, I would drop weight like crazy. Anybody know anyone like that? Anybody experience something like that? We actually had a gal come to one of our events named Nicole, and for her guilty pleasure was sugar cookies with cream cheese frosting. She made that sound too. And she came to the event and she's like, oh my goodness, if I could just give up these stupid cookies. But they have so much sugar, they cream cheese, and they're yummy. And she's like, if I could just stop eating these stupid cookies, then I want to drop weight just like crazy. And we said, are you sure you want to do that? And she goes, what do you mean? We said, we can have you do that. Are you sure that's what you want? She goes, yeah, I'm sure. I want to give these up. We said, okay. And we utilized a certain process, which I'm going to share with you in a moment. And literally within about 2 minutes, we rewired her brain to literally loathe sugar cookies with cream cheese frosting. In fact, the very next day, we brought one just to try to test it. We tried to give it to her, and we said, "Would you like one of these?" She goes, "Get that away from me." And she almost vomited right in the middle of the class. And we went, "It works." Now, is there anybody in here that has literally tried everything under the sun to reduce weight, and it seems like everything has failed? A few of you. Anybody know people like that? Anybody want to stop shooting on themselves when it comes to their weight? Yes. In that case, this information might be for you. Yes or yes? Yes. Grab the arm of the person next to you. Give them a little shake. And say, "By the way, this is for you, my friend." And some of these may seem counterintuitive. For example, the first one. Is stop avoiding unhealthy foods. What is it, please?
Stop avoiding unhealthy foods.
Wait a second, Eric. That doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? Stop avoiding unhealthy foods. It's unhealthy foods that got me in this mess in the first place. Well, here's the deal. When you simply avoid something, you actually create you literally create a void inside your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind can't stand empty space. It can't stand voids. And so anytime you create a void, it goes to work looking for something similar to fill that void with. Does this make sense so far? Yes. For example, how many of you know someone that's like, "Man, if I could I'll just release this weight just by avoiding brownies for the next 3 months and I'll drop weight like crazy." Anybody ever hear someone say something like that? Say yes. Yes. And so they try to willpower their way through this this diet, right? And they go, "Okay, I'm just going to avoid these brownies, and then I'll drop weight." Well, pretty soon, they go to someone's birthday party or someone's wedding where they're serving chocolate cake. And the brain goes, "Ooh, sugar. Chocolate cake, we got this void here. We can't eat brownies, but ooh, chocolate cake. That sounds pretty yummy, that's pretty close." And pretty soon, the saliva starts dripping. Pretty soon the craving starts coming on. And pretty soon, without even realizing it, you've gone back for your 4th freaking slice of chocolate cake. And you're going, "This is my 4th slice. How did that happen?" Who knows what I'm talking about? Say yes.
Yes.
My friends, you do not want to avoid unhealthy foods. You want to replace. What's the word, please?
Replace.
Thank you. And the same goes with any unhealthy habit in your life. When you simply try to avoid things, again, you create a void inside your mind. Anytime there's something that is not serving you, you automatically want to replace it. Reach over, grab the arm of the person next to you. Give them a little shake. And say, "Stop avoiding.
Stop avoiding.
Start replacing." Give me a high five and say, "That's for me. That's for me." And can I share a little secret with you? One of the things that I had to do, because I don't know about you, I've got a crazy big sweet tooth. Anybody else? And almost every single meal that I would have, I almost had to finish it with a little something sweet. Just because that's what I like. And on top of that, I'm a big foodie. And so anybody else here? Okay, I'm not the only one. Okay, that's good. I love food, especially when it's like really like cool and like presented nicely. And so like when we go on cruises, especially like nice ones, like the servers will come out, I'm like, "It's shaped like Mickey Mouse." I almost don't want to eat it, but yes I do. Right? And it's true. For the longest time, I always had to have something sweet. And again, most people say, "Well, just avoid the sweets." No, you've got to replace it. And so we actually found an amazing green smoothie recipe that we use to replace the unhealthy stuff. Now again, I really love sweet stuff, and so this is a recipe that was actually quite sweet. It had a lot of really good fruit in it that doesn't have a ton of sugar, so it doesn't spike the insulin. It had some omega-3 fatty acids, which also boost your metabolism like crazy. And what I would do is, just before each meal, I would drink about 1/4 of a gallon of green smoothie. And it got to the point, number one, that helped me stay full, but it completely obliterated my sugar cravings. Cool or cool? Cool. And so, instead of avoiding the sweets, I replaced it with the green smoothies. I can actually show you something also really cool. Heather, can you pull up do we have the Skinny Mist here? Oh, right here. So I don't get paid to endorse this, but this is actually a company based in Orem. And anybody here like me, where you can't just have like that one cookie, you can eat like a whole batch of cookies? Anybody else like that? Oh good, I'm not the only one, or the whole box of whatever it is, right? Who cares as long as it's got sugar? What you can do is, if you're anything like me and you lack willpower sometimes, is this is stuff, again, it's called Skinny Mist. And if you want to have your one cookie or whatever, you eat the one thing, then you spray this on your tongue, and for about 30 to 60 minutes, you actually can't taste refined sugar. It masks the taste. And so if you try to eat something with refined sugar from during that time, it'll taste like garbage. And so it's really funny, like years and years ago, so the chairman of the board of this company is a former patient of mine. And so I get a little bit of a discount, and we were helping them to market it. This was years and years ago. And we set up this little table with some M&Ms on it, and as people would walk by, we would say, hey, you want to try this? And they go, well, what is it? I'd say, here, take an M&M, eat one, so you know we haven't tampered with it. So they take an M&M, I'd say, did we tamper with it? No, it's an M&M. And then we'd say, spray this on your tongue. They did, and we said, wait just a moment, I'll try another M&M. They took one, they went, what'd you do to the second M&M? I said, nothing. And so we actually did it to our 7-year-old daughter. With her permission. But she goes, what is that stuff? Can I try it, Daddy? I said, you really want to try it? She goes, okay. And so we gave her a little bite of chocolate because she inherited my love for sweets, unfortunately. I was hoping our kids would inherit a lot more of what Heather offers, but most of them got my personality. That's another story. And so she took a bite of chocolate, and she's like, ooh, this is really yummy chocolate. And we said, okay, spray this on your tongue. It's going to taste like baking cocoa. She goes, what's that? Sounds yummy. Try some. And so she took a bite of the chocolate, and she spit it right back out. She goes, you're mean. And so, one more time. Instead of avoiding, what do you want to do? Replace. Excellent. Now, number 2. Along those same lines, is stop depriving yourself. What is it, please?
Stop depriving yourself.
I am not a fan of deprivation. Anybody else like me?
Yes.
As I mentioned, I personally believe that there is a way to incorporate every good thing that you can possibly imagine into a healthy lifestyle. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Again, I'm the type of person, I gotta have some chocolate every single day. I gotta have me some hot wings. I gotta have me some French fries every now and then because they're delicious. There are ways to simply fit it into a great lifestyle, a great eating plan. And the way that I personally do it is not necessarily for everyone, but how many of you are familiar with intermittent fasting? How many of you have no clue what the heck I'm talking about? A few of you, that's totally fine. And so again, this isn't necessarily for everyone, but what I personally do is I actually wait to have my first meal later on in the day. I'll wake up whenever I wake up, and I will go several hours before eating. Now I'm still drinking lots and lots of water. I'm drinking lots of minerals, lots of greens that don't have calories, and so my body is still getting flushed with nourishment. But I don't actually have my calories until a little later on in the day. Because what then happens is I get to have this great big meal with all my favorite foods. Does this make sense? My body loves about 1,800 calories per day. And if I condense it, that means that my first meal of the day is like 1,100 or 1,200 calories. Which means I get to eat me some yummy food, yes or yes? Yes. You simply fit it in. Now, as I mentioned, different types of bodies do different things. Some people actually do a lot better with like eating little meals throughout the day. Other people, like myself, do a lot better with intermittent fasting. Does this make sense? It's all about finding what's right for you. The reason why you don't want to deprive yourself is, remember, there's a difference between knowing, doing, and becoming. Yes or yes? Yes. And it's the difference between going through the motions and experiencing temporary results and actually experiencing permanent. What's the word, please?
Permanent.
Thank you. Permanent, lasting results. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Again, according to statistics, most people completely fail because they try to torture themselves for a certain period of time. I don't know about you, but I don't like torturing myself. Anybody else? How many of you know people that are like, you know what? I want to suffer today. And so let's eat a bunch of cardboard for the next 3 months and hopefully we'll see some difference on the scale. No! Who enjoys anything like that? I sure as heck don't. Do you? Reach over, grab the arm of the person next to you. Give them a shake. And say, it sucks to torture yourself. So stop it! Give me a high five and say, that sounds good to me. Again, a lot of people think, okay, I'm just going to deprive myself for this month, or these 3 months, or this year. Unfortunately, again, there's a difference between doing and becoming. In order to have permanent change, you must make your changes permanent. Does that make sense? For permanent change, you must make your changes permanent, which means adapting a new lifestyle. New what, please?
Lifestyle.
And people don't choose lifestyles that they hate. True or true? Why in the world would anybody say, you know, I'm just a glutton for punishment? No, that's no fun. And so, instead of depriving yourself, find ways to fit the things that you really enjoy into your system. Does this make sense? For example, usually one day every week or two, I have a reward day. Notice I didn't say a cheat day. The reason why is, how many married people do we have in the room again? How many of you married people would be okay with your spouse just going and cheating just once? Or just once a week? How many of you would stay with that spouse? Of course not! So why would you do that with a diet plan? This is why we don't call it cheat days, because it does something to your subconscious mind. Does this make sense? Instead, call it either a reward day, a celebration day, or a refeed day. I know a lot of people that call it refeed day. To me, that sounds like a weird mental image. I picture a bunch of hogs going, just refeeding. I don't know why. Like, first I'm going to feed, then I'm going to refeed. Like, what are you doing? That just sounds weird. So I like to call it a celebration day. And during those days, you better believe I'm going to have me some pizza. You better believe I'm going to make a great big burger. Or can I share a really cool gift Heather gave me for Christmas? Sure. She bought me an air fryer. Anybody here like fried food? It's the coolest thing. And I mean, you stick the food in there. You don't even need oil, and it just uses. I don't know how it works. It gets air, and it fries the food. And you take it out of it. And so I love, like I said, I love wings and French fries. And you don't even need oil until it comes out. It's like, somebody stuck oil in here. That's what it tastes like. It's the coolest thing. And so again, instead of depriving yourself, tell the person next to you, find ways to do things you enjoy. Because then you stick with it. Give your neighbor a high five and say, that sounds good to me. Now, this next one again may surprise some people. Diet and exercise is not the answer.
Yes.
I'll say that one more time because there are some very, very confused looks on people's faces right now. Diet and exercise is not the answer. Everyone say that with me. Diet and exercise is not the answer. Now, don't get me wrong, those things are important. But saying that diet and exercise is the key to weight reduction is like saying that the key to a college degree is reading a book. That stuff's important, but that's only one phase of it. Yes or yes?
Yes.
The mistake that so many people make is they only focus on one of what we call the 3 pillars of growth. How many, please?
3.
Thank you. The 3 pillars of growth are the following. There is the body. What is it?
Body.
There is the mind. What is it?
Mind.
What is it?
Mind.
I can't hear you. What is it?
Mind.
Thank you. And of course, there is the soul. What is it?
Soul.
Which I break down into spirit. What is it?
Spirit.
And emotions. What is it?
Emotions.
And again, most people only focus on one, maybe two of the 3 pillars of growth. When it comes to weight release, most people say, well, you gotta diet and exercise. Well, duh. Those things are important, yes or yes?
Yes.
And some people say, well, no, it's all about calories in and calories
Out.
But no, it isn't. That's only one component. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, if you're eating a bunch of crap all day long, and that's all you're doing, and you're never moving, and you're being a freaking lazy bum every single day, you probably aren't going to get any smaller. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Again, it's important. It's important to, yes, have proper nutrition and to get your body moving so that you're burning more calories than you're bringing in. But it goes so much deeper than that. In fact, 2 people can be the exact same weight, the exact same size. They can follow the exact same diet and exercise plan. One person will burn weight just like crazy, and the other person won't lose a pound. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And the reason why are, 1, it could have more to do with their body, meaning one person needed more macronutrients, more what, please?
Macronutrients.
Which are protein, carbs, and fats. Some people need them in different quantities. For some people, how many of you are familiar with the keto diet? How many of you have no clue what I'm talking about? 2 of you. Keto diet is kind of this new fad, which is you get 75% of your calories from fats, 20% from protein, and 5% from carbs. And a lot of people have great success with it, and that's fantastic. Not everyone does, though. Does that make sense? A lot of people say, well, Eric, which diets work? All of them do. Just not all of them work all the time for everybody. Does that make sense? Different people need different things. And again, that's only one component. The second component, or the second pillar, is the
Mind.
A person who thinks like a heavy person and identifies. What's the word?
Identifies.
Thank you. A person who identifies as a heavy or overweight or fat person is generally going to do things that a heavy, fat, or overweight person does. Does this make sense? This is why it makes me sick to the stomach almost when people stand up and say, I am an addict, or I am fat, or I am broke, or whatever it is. Because they then have accepted whatever is going on inside their lives as their identity. And when it comes to addiction recovery, and let me ask you a question, does weight release, does that have to do with addiction recovery?
Yes.
Very much so, yes or yes?
Yes.
While a lot of people don't like the A word, most people struggle with some form of addictive behavior in their life. Whether it's an addiction to sugar, whether it's an addiction to self-loathing, whether it's an addiction to doubting themselves, whatever it happens to be, most people struggle with some form of addiction in their life. And it wasn't until I personally found my addictive behaviors and healed myself of them, starting with separating from the identity, that I began to heal. Let me give you an example. How many of you have ever known someone that was addicted to nicotine, cigarettes? And maybe they decided to quit, so they put it down and they said, nope, I'm gonna cut this out cold turkey. And they decided they were gonna go for a period of time without any nicotine. But then they continue to say, oh, but I'm an addict. What's an addict? Always an addict. What usually happens 9 times out of 10? They go right back, yes or yes? Because if someone identifies him or herself as a smoker, they may go a period of time without cigarettes. But eventually, they have to do what is according to their identity. Does this make sense? Now, on the flip side, if a person identifies themselves with a particular religion that avoids tobacco, avoids alcohol, is that person going to struggle with not partaking of those things? Usually not, because they identify themselves as a non-smoker or a free person. Does this make sense? When a person separates their identity, that is the first step to healing. Cool or cool? And it also has to do, again, with the mind. there are certain tools and tricks that a person can use to literally retrain the brain to get it to work for you instead of against you. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever done something that you knew you shouldn't, but it was almost like you were on autopilot, and after you did it, you're like, why did I just do that? That was so stupid. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Say yes.
Yes.
How many of you have ever gone back for that third slice of cake, and you're like, how did this get in my hand? Like seriously, who's done that? Say yes. Yes. And it's true, it's because subconsciously you were programmed to do that. Write down the solution. Write the words NLP. I guess those are letters, not words. NLP, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. What is it, please?
Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
Thank you. Again, it's a way to literally retrain your brain to work for you instead of against you. It helps to identify exactly what your triggers are. And it causes your brain to automatically, instead of doing the negative behavior, to automatically replace it. What's the word, please?
Replace.
Thank you. Replace it with a positive behavior. For example, when I was going through my own journey of addiction recovery, I wanted to stop doing the particular habit that I was doing, and I wanted to replace it by looking up positive videos on my phone. And so anytime I felt triggered, anytime I felt like participating in that negative behavior, utilizing neuro-linguistic programming, I retrained my brain to, here's the trigger, oh, we'll pull up this positive video instead. So that happens automatically. What's the word?
Automatically.
How many of you, what type of difference would it make in your life if success and positive behaviors happen automatically for you? How many of you feel like your life would be totally different? And again, that can take place with NLP mixed with hypnosis. What's the word, please?
Hypnosis.
How many of you are familiar with hypnosis? How many of you have never experienced it before? How many of you think that's when you stand up on one leg and cluck like a chicken? A lot of people have misconceptions about hypnosis because there's a difference between stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy. A lot of people think that hypnosis equals mind control. That's the farthest thing from the truth. How many of you have ever gone to sleep or listened to some sort of meditation track? That's a form of hypnosis. Now, while you were listening to that meditation track, did you lose control? Did some crazy force take over your body and ooh, okay, let's go do this? Did that ever happen to you? Did suddenly something enter you and cause you to go like rob a bank or something? No, because even while you're under hypnosis is nothing more than a deep state of relaxation. Do you know what the #1 form of hypnosis in this country is? Watching television. Television is the #1 form of hypnosis. And you better believe big companies pay big money for advertisements that include hypnotic language and neuro-linguistic programming. You know what's really cool though? Can I share a little secret? Once you study hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming, you see it everywhere, both in not good scenarios and in very good scenarios. Can I share with you actually a really positive thing? This may be kind of eye-opening. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Lean in. And I love this about it. General Conference is filled with hypnotic suggestions. I'm totally serious. And they are wonderful, wonderful suggestions. It's fascinating because I remember listening to it, and of course, you get nice and relaxed. And you get all comfy in your chair. And I have a dad chair, which makes it even better. And of course, it's early in the morning, and so you're tired. And then they get up and they say these amazing, amazing things. And they word it in such a way that it actually bypasses your filter, which is called the reticular activating system. What's it called, please?
Reticular activating system.
Thank you. And they actually use hypnotic language. Maybe they're aware of it, I don't know. Maybe there's an NLP school for those that speak in general conference. I don't know, that'd be the coolest thing. But the way that they say things, it's actually hypnotic language. And again, it is the best form of hypnosis, in my opinion, because it's all about how to be better, how to be more loving. We're literally being hypnotized to love each other more. We're literally being hypnotized to love ourselves more, to be better. I remember after certifying in hypnosis, I remember the first general conference, and I'm like, he just used a hypnotic suggestion. That's cool. And it's the coolest thing, because when you know how to utilize NLP and hypnosis, You can literally train your brain to do anything that you want it to do and make success automatic. What is it, please? Automatic. Tell the person next to you, you want to make success automatic. You want to make success automatic. But again, those are just 2 of the 3 pillars. The third one, of course, is the soul. What is it? Soul. And again, I separate this into 2 subcategories, spiritual and emotional. There was a young lady named Rachel who, growing up, she was very, very pleased with her body. She was a cheerleader in high school. It wasn't until she got into a very abusive relationship in her early adult years that she then began to put on weight. After she left this relationship, she literally put on well over 100 pounds. Because in her mind, at a subconscious level, if she was heavier, guys wouldn't notice her, and therefore she could be protected from abuse. Does this make sense? Well, again, this happened at a very subconscious level. And the thing about the body is the body was designed to heal itself physically. Yes or yes? Yes. No one ever had to teach us how to heal a cut in our finger. I mean, they didn't teach that in my kindergarten. There wasn't a, oh, here's how to heal that cut on your finger class. No, the body just does it automatically. Yes or yes? Yes. Unfortunately, it was not designed to heal itself emotionally. It was designed so that we actually have to choose into emotional healing. And in a lot of cases, get help and learn the lessons. If it wasn't designed in that way, we would never learn any positive lessons. Does this make sense? We have these crazy symptoms teaching us and those symptoms stay there until we finally make those changes, yes or yes. Tomorrow I'm really excited because I actually get to demonstrate the holistic healthcare technique, and I'll actually pull someone up on stage. Anybody here have any chronic back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, anything like that? Make sure you're like front and center tomorrow so that I choose you to come up for a treatment. Cool or cool? And it wasn't until Rachel had identified what we call soul wound. What's it called, please? Soul wound. Thank you. That intense emotional wound that she had been holding on to inside of her body. Up to that point, she tried diet after diet after diet, and maybe she would lose a few pounds. But eventually, what happened? Right back. She would put it all back on, true or true. Because again, she was treating a symptom, not the actual cause. The cause of her weight gain was a very intense emotional wound. Once she finally identified that, she healed it, and within 3 months, she dropped 80 pounds. Within a year, 140 pounds. She found the cause, and she then healed it and got results. And so, my friends, our diet and exercise, as important as they are, they're not the answer. What I strongly recommend that you do is find the cause. What is it, please? Find the cause. Thank you. And in just a few moments, I'm going to actually share something with you that I hope you'll receive from me. It's called a weight reduction assessment. There is a way to have your body tested to find out exactly what is going on inside your body, to know exactly how many calories your body needs, exactly how much fat, protein, carbs your body needs, the exact type of exercise your body needs, exactly the type of mindset shifts your body needs, the exact type of emotional wounds your body's storing, and exactly where in your body you are storing it. And so with your permission, here in a few moments, we've got a few more things to cover. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. Would that be okay with you? Yes. We actually created it earlier this year just as an experiment, and I used myself as the guinea pig. 60 pounds in 4 months ain't half bad. So big woohoo! So grab the arm of the person next to you. And tell that person, diet and exercise is not key. Exercise is not key. You gotta identify the root cause. Give me a high five and say, that's for me, that's for me. That's for me. Which, at the risk of sounding redundant, number 4 is get to the cause. What is it? Get to the cause. How many of you have ever had dandelions in your front yard? Any of you ever tried getting rid of them by just picking the flower? Yep. What happened? How'd that work out for you? Grew back. They grew back, usually with a vengeance. Yes or yes? Yes. Any of you have little kids that think it's really funny to pick it and then and you see it happening in slow motion. And you see all those seeds and you go, sound effects? See, you know exactly what it was. And again, A lot of people think that it's going to go away just by mowing over it. Guys, when you were teenagers, any of you ever have some acne? Did you ever try to get rid of your acne by just shaving it off? I hope you did. Yeah, ouch. Did that work?
No.
No, especially when it comes to the dandelions. In order to permanently, what's the word?
Permanently.
Thank you. In order to permanently remove it, what did you have to do?
The roots.
You had to get to the root, yes or yes?
Yes.
And it's the same thing. You must get to the root, find out why your body is responding in such a way, why your body has been hesitant to release that weight. What is it it's trying to protect? May I share something really personal with you? So along my journey, there have been a number of times when I've hit a plateau. And one of the major plateaus was actually at 215. So I was still quite pleased. I mean, I dropped 35 pounds in like 5 weeks. But I remember thinking, oh, come on. I hit 215 and I was hitting my macros really, really well. In a caloric deficit, I was getting my exercise every single day. And every single day I would stand on the scale and it was still at 215. I'm going, this is frustrating. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And I finally sat down and I went, okay, there's got to be more than just the physical because I'm doing all the physical. There's got to be something deeper. And through a process that I use, I found a very real fear that I had. I thought back to the last time that I weighed 215 pounds and I remembered and I went, oh my word. Last time I was under 215, I was homeless. And I thought, oh. Subconsciously, deep down, I had this fear that if I dropped under 215, I would lose everything. Because for that summer, my wife and kids had to go and live with her parents in St. George. I stayed up here to try to find a home and to try to sort things out. And deep down, I thought that if I weighed less than that, something terrible would happen and I would not only lose my home, I would lose everything. I had to do some very intense emotional work. I had to dig that fear up by the root. And I had to finally release it. I had to do what, please?
Release it.
And I had to heal it. What's the word?
Heal.
And the very next day, I broke through the plateau. And this has happened every single time the plateau has come. We found the root cause. We found the emotion, the mindset, whatever it was, the caloric intake adjustment, utilizing a weight reduction assessment. We made the adjustment, and the very next day, without fail, plateau was broken. Is that cool or cool? Cool. And of course, number 5. And you're going to hear me say this a lot throughout the next 3 days. Is invest in mentoring. Do what, please?
Invest in mentoring.
My friends, if you've never reached your ideal weight, if you've never had the body that you've always desired, you need to find someone that has a body like the type that you desire and do whatever it takes to learn from that person. Good or good?
Good.
Now, again, would you hire a fitness trainer that had been 500 pounds overweight? Ah, you caught that. Would you hire someone that is 500 pounds overweight? No. But if there was someone that had been at one time, but now they're massively ripped, might that be a person you want to listen to? Absolutely. In fact, wrap your arm around the person next to you. And say, my friend, it's time to stop trying to do it alone. It's time to invest in mentoring. Give it a high five and say, that's for me, that's for me. So, one more time, these are the 5 steps to the body of your dreams. These are the 5 steps that you can use to finally achieve that permanent transformation. First one, stop avoiding. Stop doing what?
Stop avoiding.
Replace instead. What do you do?
Replace instead.
Stop depriving yourself. Stop what?
Stop depriving yourself.
Find ways to fit in what you love. Find ways to do what?
Fit in what you love.
Thank you. Number 3, diet and exercise is not the key. What is it?
Diet and exercise is not the key.
Rather, focus on all 3 pillars of growth, which are body,
mind, soul.
What are they?
Body, mind, soul.
soul. What are they?
Body, mind, and soul.
Excellent. Tell the person next to you, you got to focus on body, mind, and soul. And what's interesting is body, mind, and soul has to do with absolutely every area of personal growth. Faith, family, fitness, finances, fulfillment. Let's use money as an example. When it comes to making more money, are there things to do with your body? Do you actually have to go out there and physically do the work? Yes. You have to change your mindset. If you have emotions regarding money, do you have to release those? Yes. When it comes to faith, are there things that you do with your body that show your devotion? Yes. Do you have to change your mindset when it comes to certain things regarding faith? Are there certain things in your emotional and spiritual sense when it comes to faith? Yes. Body, mind, soul. Number 4, find the cause. Do what, please?
Find the cause.
Find out exactly what's going on inside you. And of course, number 5, invest in mentoring. What is it, please?
Invest in mentoring.
But Eric, that can be expensive sometimes. So can figuring out, spending years and years or even decades struggling to figure out what's going on inside of you. True or true? True. For me, if there's somebody that can give me an answer right away and help shave off years or even decades of my learning curve, you better believe we're going to do it. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And so I've got a really cool announcement for you. Can I make it?
Yes.
I need 2 helpers, 2 volunteers. 1 here and 1 here and 1 here. Big woohoo! Coming around are flyers for what's called a weight reduction assessment. In just a few moments, we're actually going to go on break. And during this break, I'm actually going to sit here on the stage with my scheduler in hand. Over the next few weeks, I'm opening up 20 spots. How many, please?
20.
Now, we have about 60 people in this class, and so this is not for everybody. Please, if you are not absolutely serious about transforming your body, this is not for you. If you already have a chiseled body, there's no need to come in for a body fat reduction assessment. True or true? True. Now, if you're the type of person that you're just quote-unquote curious, what's the word? Curious. If you're quote-unquote curious, well, I was just curious as to what you do, this is not for you. Does this make sense? Now, if you are absolutely serious about completely transforming your body, if you are absolutely serious about making and becoming that brand new version of yourself, if you are absolutely serious about figuring out exactly what your body needs, and again, we test you for exactly how many calories, how much fat, how many carbs, how much protein, the exact type of exercise, how many minutes of exercise, how many times of exercise per week, exactly the mindset blocks, exactly the emotional and spiritual blocks that your body is holding on to, and then what to do about it. We test you and we give you then a step-by-step game plan of how to overcome it. If you are not absolutely serious about creating major, quick, enjoyable, and permanent change, this is not for you. Does this make sense? Only sign up for this if that does describe you. Now, a couple of disclaimers. What came around was not only the flyer for it, but also a registration form. In just a moment, as I mentioned, I'm going to offer this to everyone who would like one, or to 20 people who would like one. We are going to actually schedule our appointment right here during this break. Does that make sense? Now, I respect obviously my time and I respect your time. And so, on the registration form, you must put down a valid card number to reserve your time. And if you do not come at that time, if you are more than 10 minutes late, if you cancel, if you no-show, then I'm going to charge you a $500 flake fee. Does that make sense? Because if you look at the flyer, how much are we charging for this weight reduction assessment? $4.99. If you sign up for one and then you flake out, I'm going to charge you $4.99 for flaking out. Because again, I respect my time and I respect your time. Does this make sense? And so if you're the type of person that's going to flake, do us both a favor, don't sign up for it. Now, also, just like with the 2 sessions, If you are married, your spouse must be present in person. What is it, please?
In person.
Thank you. And I'm not talking about over the phone or via FaceTime. If you are married, your spouse must be present in person. And the reason why is we're probably going to find some pretty interesting things in you when we test you, yes or yes. We're also going to test you exactly how you need to eat. As I mentioned, the exact calories, how many meals you need. Sometimes we test people for a gluten intolerance or dairy intolerance and they had no idea. We want your spouse to know how to best support you so that you can make your transformation permanent. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And so again, if you choose to be one of those 20, we're going to go on break, you'll form a line here, and you'll fill out your registration form, putting your card number down to reserve your time, and then we will set the appointment right here, right now. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Once those times are gone, they're gone. So if you are serious about it, make sure to sign up for one of those spots. Now, having said that, if that describes you, cross off the $4.99, write no charge. This is my gift to you. Now, one more time, please only sign up for it if it is something you are absolutely serious about. If you are absolutely serious about transforming your body once and for all, only then this is for you. Cool or cool? Cool.